Make sure to check out my Kofi account, link down in the description. And check out my other series, Modern Classics and TV Treasures. Hello, I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, your host with the mustache, and this is Mind Boggle Week. Yeah, this was originally going to be Mind Boggle Month, but time got away from me. Well, I guess here we are. And from now till next week, I will be reviewing 3 of the weirdest animated films ever made.
So let's get weird.
Nightclub singer Angel is kidnapped by rock star Mock and is forced to do a ritual to summon a demon. So her and her friends must stop him before it's too late. Oh, what are my thoughts on this cult classic called Rock and Roll? Well, I like it. Rock and Roll is noticeable for being the very first animated feature to come from the Great White North, Canada.
And live!
And was made by Nelvana, who, if you're not familiar with that name, then you are definitely familiar with their shows, because they are the makers of both yours and my childhood, making shows like the Magic School Bus, the Care Bears, Franklin, the Berenstain Bears cartoon series, Little Bear, and easily their most famous show, The Fairly Odd Parents. This film was originally intended to be a feature-length version of Nelvana's very first film, which was a short film entitled The Devil and Daniel Mouse, which has what has got to be the smoothest sounding devil I've ever heard.
Did you say anything?
The plot of that short film was about a female mouse selling her soul to the devil to get a career in singing.
Well, yeah, because it works so well for Spider-Man in One More Day.
Why are you interrupting my video? Snarky J Cosplay.
I ain't gonna look. I'm not gonna look. No!
But then the premise changed to a post-apocalyptic future where anthro-animals reign supreme, and was originally going to be a bit more light-hearted and childlike in nature, with the original title being Drates. But then the film changed to having a more adult and mature tone. And the film went through several revisions and pretty much lingered in development hell. Heck, this movie started animation without a completed script. And when the film finally did release, it was a commercial and critical failure. It had a budget of $8 million, and it didn't even get half its money back. Reviews were mostly mixed at the time. While getting positive reviews from Spin, it also got negative reviews from the New York Times. This is in large part to two things. First of all, MGM did not know how to market this movie. And number two, they had very little faith in it.
Because, yeah, who the hell would want to promote an adult animated film? Oh, I don't know, unless you're these things, I guess.
We open with the Nelvana intro, and we get a title card set to music that sounds like it came from a Super NES game. Intro to Psycho, if Alfred Hitchcock directed Psycho in the 80s. We get a title crawl that after World War III, the world has been inhabited by mutated rats, dogs, and cats. Did they unleash a nuclear furry bomb? Well, never mind. Anyways, we get to see Mock's car driving out of the lot. By the way, you gotta love how this opening keeps Mox's face in the shadows. Kinda like Dr. Claw. He talks to his less creepier version of an Alexa. And ladies and gentlemen, we have our very first CGI in a 2D film. I would make fun of how dated this CGI looks, but to be honest, it still looks better than what would come later. She tells him that in order to awaken the demon, he needs one voice and one song from a living being. So let us meet that living being and her bandmates. This is Angel. She's a very talented singer who's determined to get her voice out there. And then there's the protagonist, aka Angel's boyfriend, Omar, who is such an unlikable toad. He's a jerk. I know he's supposed to be an anti-hero, but there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And Omar is most certainly the wrong way. He's voiced by Pat LaMatte, who is John in American Graffiti. Next up, we get our supporting duo, Stretch and Dizzy. Stretch looking like he's playing a game of Tron. And while Stretch can be a bit annoying with his shrilled voice, he's not as annoying as, let's say, Phil Deedle or Autry Jr. from Little Shop of Horrors. At least, unlike other comic relief, they at least know when to shut him the freak up. And Dizzy can be kind of whiny, but he's mostly the voice of reason in this band. Anyways, the sleazy nightclub owner introduces us to our first song, Born to Raise Hell, sung by Robin Zandor, leader of the band Cheap Trick. Next up is Angel's Song, provided by Debbie Harry, aka Blondie, who it just occurred to me she looks just like Angel. Well, anyways, let's listen to the song.
For your eyes to see, watching both sides as I wait, just in case you need.
Mock then appears in the club and sees Angel singing, and his ring starts to blink.
Forget the ring. The ring is bupkis. I found it in a Cracker Jack box.
Let's talk about the animation. It is gorgeous, and I love the look of this world. It's like a dirty back alley that feels somewhat dangerous, but somewhat even comfortable. The character designs are really great. They're not fully animal, but they're not fully human either. They're kind of like a mixture of both. Anyways, they're invited to see Mock and what looks like a futuristic version of Skeletor's castle, where they are all greeted by one of Mock's servants, Zip, and his brother, Sleazy, and then we're introduced to Toad, who Omar, being the asshole that he is, insults him, but before we could actually get to see him beat him up, we then get our reveal for Mock. Talk about him, let us talk about his minions. We got Toad, who is the Mo of the group. We got Sleazy, who's the Larry. And then we have Zip, who is the Curly. They're the three stooges of this movie. And Zip goes through a character arc where he learns the difference between good and evil. He actually gets some character depth and questions Mock's evil plan, and actually becomes a hell of a lot more likable than Omar ever was. I actually feel more sympathy for him than I do to Omar. Talk about the villain, Mock, what is hands down the best character in this movie. He's like a magical fusion of the Rex from Osmosis Jones, Frankenfurter from Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Jareth from Labyrinth, and he is so deliciously evil and so flamboyant, and the way he talks is so hammy. His character design is also amazing. Those lips have a personality of their own. Played by Don Franks, who was also in Heavy Metal, Johnny Mnemonic starring Keanu Reeves, and the slasher film My Bloody Valentine, and played Boba Fett in the Star Wars Holiday Special, and voiced Dr. Claw in Inspector Gadget, and voiced Sabretooth in the 90s X-Men animated series. After Angel gets kidnapped, They end up throwing the boys in the car, and they tell them that Mock and her are going to Nuke York. Yes, that's really a name of a town in this movie. And after some Looney Tunes-ass business with a police officer, they end up stealing his car and go hightail it to Nuke York. And they run into Buford T. Justice from Smokey and the Bandit 3. Meet Mock's henchman's sister, Cinderella. No, seriously, this character is called Cinderella. I'm just gonna call her Cindy. She's basically a roller derby girl with a bit of an upbeat personality. She decides to help Angel sneak out by sneaking through the ventilation system. Meanwhile, back in Nuke York, we get to see Dizzy's aunt, who's basically a Mad Max tattoo artist. And they let her in on the situation. By the way, she's voiced by Catherine O'Hara, who's probably best known for playing Sally in The Nightmare Before Christmas and Kevin McAllister's moms in Home Alone 1 and 2. He tells them about Cindy, while this sailor dude who she was given a tattoo to goes off to tell Mock's henchmen. And by the way, even this sailor dude is kinda really memorable. He's voiced by Maurice LaMarche, who also would later go on to play another famous rodent, the Brain in Pinky and the Brain. Angel and Sydney go into a nightclub where the adult imagery of this film really kicks into high gear as we get our next song by Earth, Wind & Fire entitled Dance, Dance, Dance. I mean, this whole scene has drugs and pretty close to full-on nudity. I mean, no one's really fully naked, but it comes really close. Up until this point, the adult imagery has been rather tame, but this is where it kicks into high gear. And now it's time for Mock to sing his song. And his song is provided by Lou Reed and Iggy Pop. Let's listen to it.
I know you love the thing you got. You've never seen the likes of me. Why, I'm the biggest thing since World War III, girls.
Name is Mark. Thanks a lot. You think he's acting, but he's not.
My name is Mark. I'm a fire.
Rock and Rule rocks. And this movie has a cult following, and you can definitely count me as part of it. I give this movie 5 gold stars.
Well, tune in, ladies and gentlemen, because Mind Boggle Week has just begun. I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, your host with the mustache, signing off. And by the by, what do I have next for Mind Boggle Month? Children, can you leave the room?
Dear Lord, that's the loudest profanity I've ever heard.